So, I have a book. Never thought this would happen. Still feels surreal. So today I just really wanted to share this exciting news and tell you a little bit about this new book on gender affirming mental health care. Something that I'm very passionate about and I think is quite important to pay attention to. I know I did create a short post a few months back about this book, but now that I'm back, I figured why not have a short video about this? I present to you counseling in a gender expansive world, resources to support therapeutic practice. We sure do love our long titles with subtitles in this field, but it gives you an idea of what this book is about. Just a little bit of a mouthful. Very informative. Other than just plugging this book, who I had the lovely pleasure of co-authoring with Doctors Douglas Knudsen and Julie Cook, I figured at least a handful of you out there might be interested in what this book is about. As you can probably guess from the title, this is very much connected to the therapy, research, and YouTube work that I'm passionate about. Providing resources designed to help trans people and trans communities. Although this book is more so geared towards mental health providers and helping professionals, I think anyone who works with or interacts with trans and non-binary people, whether that's in the workplace, volunteer capacity, community groups, or any other capacities, could also benefit from some of the resources in this book. Hell, even anybody who just wants to be more supportive, who wants a few tools to be more supportive and inclusive for trans people in their lives, whether friends, family, coworkers, customers, and so on, could also benefit from this. Although, a few chapters won't be super relevant to you if you're outside of like the mental health or medical profession. I've talked a bit about the importance of exploring your gender identity and gaining an understanding of, what your gender is and how it intersects with other parts of who you are. Reflecting on your gender is something that I recommend for everyone, regardless of whether you're trans, non-binary, cisgender. It's an important way to understand yourself better and to also build empathy for others who are similar or different from you in terms of gender identity and expression. This is something that cis people, people that are not trans or non-binary, can take for granted. Since trans and non-binary people are forced to confront and explore gender due to living in a world that isn't created with trans and non-binary people in mind. We have to explore gender because our gender is different than what was expected of us based on our sex assigned at birth. The world expected me to be a boy, to be a man, and that's not who I am. That's not how I identify, but I had to go through an exploration process to figure those pieces out. When the pieces just match, the expectations match how you identify. Process of exploration may not have as much depth. And that's because it may not feel necessary, or it may not even be something that you think about doing in the first place. If any of this exploration piece sounds important, interesting, informative, or if you're thinking, hey, there are some people in my life that I think would benefit from this. This is what the first third of the book is about. Tools, exercises, ways to explore gender. And the book is written in a way that it's designed to be very accessible, not jargony. It's not at all written like an academic journal article, written more like a book. In the rest of the book, we dive into different components that can help make a therapy practice, medical practice, or even just a business more inclusive, affirming, supportive, and helpful for trans and non-binary people. Things like building a strong, affirming relationship to work together and to make sure everyone is getting their goals and needs met. Stuff that everybody wants and deserves, just tailored towards trans and non-binary people's goals and navigating things like social and medical transition needs, among other things. And finally, we explore what affirming care and practice might look like in a variety of contexts. So, starting with that reflection piece at the beginning of the book, then kind of getting into components of affirming practice, and then getting into specifics of applying that to different settings and contexts. Things like What about, transition within the context of a romantic or intimate relationship, or within a family system, or a workplace? Navigating support groups or therapy groups to be affirming for trans and non-binary people and their needs. There are many other contexts we can apply this. These are just some common ones, especially when thinking within the context of helping profession type work. I'm of course biased since I'm an author on this, but I do truly believe that many people could benefit from at least some of the topics discussed in here. Like I said, some of these things will be more or less relevant, whether or not you're somebody like a therapist or a social worker, somebody in, the mental health field. But I think especially the first third of the book can be widely applicable. Like these pieces about understanding and exploring gender in general and your own gender and how you relate to this idea of gender. This is a very quick overview of the book, but it kind of gives you an idea of like the main components of this. I'll go ahead and stop here. I'd love to hear your thoughts and reactions. Are there any topics here that sounded interesting or exciting or important to you? Anything stick out or resonate with you? When thinking of that first third of the book, what has your process of exploring, understanding, and integrating your gender with other parts of yourself looked like? For those of you that have started that process, wherever you're at in that process, what might that process look like if you haven't really engaged with that? Are there people in your personal or professional life that may really benefit from something like this for a variety of reasons? And in your experience, what qualities have made something like a therapy office, a medical practice, or really just any business feel affirming for you as a trans or non-binary person? And maybe even what are some things that have not felt affirming and what could have been done to make it better? This was a brief overview of the book, so did anything I brought up spark ideas or questions that you want me to explore further in a future video? Like maybe dive into some of these things a little more. I do have some videos on different aspects of exploring gender, but maybe there's something else that came up as well. Let me know all of this and more down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have not done so already, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share buttons. Tipsy and I love you all so very much. Bye for now.